here at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. I'm with special guest
Michael Yezerski.
And I know your work, definitely have a lot of questions about, but before we get into that, how's Comic-Con been for you so far?
It's been great. I mean, like, it's obviously just started. I got in last night, but I mean, it's actually my first Comic-Con. So I've always wanted to experience it. So it's just walking around, seeing the amazing costumes and the people, and we just had the most amazing panel. Like, the audience was so engaged. It was brilliant.
Yeah, the Supersonic is one of the staples of each and every Comic-Con. So it's a pleasure to have you a part of the family now. Hopefully you come many more of the Comic-Cons. But starting over with Cabinets and Curiosity, which was just a fantastic series that is on Netflix. It is an anthology, and it's exactly the type of series I like. You being a composer here, what was sort of the mindset and prep going into a show? You knew a lot of eyes were going to be on it, but each and every episode telling a story, each story being drastically different in terms of toning and mooding, the mystique behind it. It seems like as a consumer and a fan, I'm like, what am I about to get myself into? I wonder if you as a composer, what is your thoughts about the project initially?
Right. Well, I mean, of course, I was brought into the project by my director, Keith Thomas, and so I only had to worry about one of the 8 episodes.
Yeah.
But the question was how it was going to relate to all the others.
Yeah.
And so I did ask that question. I was like, there are 7 other episodes. How is this going to... And he was like, don't worry, Guillermo's got this.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and he really did. When I saw it, when I saw all the other episodes at the end, I was like, he really had this. Like, this is stylistically cohesive. Like they're different stories, but they feel like the same series.
Yeah.
So he was right. Like, all I needed to worry about was my one episode and just making it work.
Yeah. And then Blindspotting here now. Another one of my favorite series on Starz here. Talk about how, and even the contrast between these two very different shows here. When you're approached by something as Blindspotting, which is that musical aspect to it as well, but it also is a show that's really driven with very deep messages within it.
Yeah.
How do you approach a project knowing that it's a responsible project? This is not a series that you just consume and have fun with. This is something it's telling the story through all mediums here, through the dance, through the music, through the acting, through the subplot and messages. So how do you approach a project such as that?
Well, I did I scored the movie Blindspotting in 2018. That was first, and that was my first introduction into the world of Rafa and David, who were, they're like, we're presenting a story in a very unique way. We're just breaking into poetry at any one time, and it's going to be seamless, and we're not going to herald it with a music cue. We're not just going to be like a music, like in a musical, like you hear the introduction, like there's like the band starts playing and they're going to break into something. Blindspotting, no. Like, it's just talking poetry. So the music shouldn't be preempting that. It should be like part of the world. And then for the series, we brought on my friend Ambrose Akamusiri to score the series with me, and that was a completely different perspective. He's from Oakland. I'm from Australia. He grew up in Oakland. He knows all the characters. So he's like, Michael, I know all of these people who are on the screen. So let me break this down for you. It was just a much more almost more intense process on the series, and the series actually is a little bit more intense as well.
Talking about Aussie real quick, Aussie cinema is really making a statement. We have a new film, Talk to Me, being released very soon. They're here also at San Diego Comic-Con. Just from being from Aussie and just seeing that representation of Aussie actors, directors, composers, and so on, how does that feel for you?
It's amazing. There's always been a really strong Australian presence for directors and cinematographers. Australian cinematographers have always been killing it in the US. But I'm sort of I'm a bit of a pioneer. It's like I'm moving over here, and now we've got a few more Australian composers. I'm trying to encourage more Australian composers to come over to make a statement. We've got a voice to be heard.
Absolutely. And then for my final questions, projects Scott coming up, working on anything you might be able to talk about.
I'm actually working on an Australian program right now, which is, I describe it as, it's not me, the director describes it as, it's a queer revisionist history of World War II in Australia.
Okay.
So that's something very different.
Okay.
And it's a comedy.
Okay. How about that?
So, I'm sure it'll make its way to the US at some point.
Awesome. Then, I guess we'll be talking about it when it does, because hopefully you'll be back here.
Hopefully back here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, buddy.
Take
care.
Great.
Curiosities.